So you guys are a group with the Lord's Alliance. You are currently in Waterdeep. You have been doing various jobs for the Lord's Alliance for the last few months. Um, you have worked together from time to time. However, you've had separate jobs as well at other times. You do know that over the last several months, you've saw an increase in reports of giant activity to the point where the Lord's Alliance has informed its members that there's now a bounty out for giants, and the various towns and whatnot that the Lord's Alliance is a part of has requested that if you kill a giant, if you chop off its head and bring it back, they'll pay you anywhere between 250 to 500 gold per head for each team. So there's been kind of a big to-do about trying to, slay giants and do things because they're fighting towns and beating things up. You guys also have just heard from your kind of superior in the Lord's Alliance. His name is Konath. He's a cleric, and he has requested that you guys proceed down to a small town called Nightstone. Nightstone is a small town that's south of Waterdeep, kind of next to the Ardeep Forest and the Ardeep River, and is sort of a kind of a almost like a vacation area for some wealthy from Waterdeep, as well as kind of an outskirt town. The issue with Nightstone, the reason why they want you to be there, is there's a large stone that sits in the center of the town. It's black in nature and is really kind of built around the city itself, or the city was built around it. The problem is that stone now has, over the last couple weeks, has had these strange glyphic ruins that have sort of been pulsating on them. And the Lord's Alliance had received message from the town's leader and requested that a dispatch be sent to see if you could ascertain the cause of these ruins that are on this rock that are now pulsating. And you guys are planning on stepping out of town and walking down the high road to get there. I know that you all know each other, but just as, kind of a quick introduction if you want to again. I know we did it briefly, but feel free and kind of chat about your character if you'd like to. We'll start with Barry. Barry. Is it Barry? Barry?
User disconnected from your channel.
Whoops.
She didn't want to talk to you?
I guess not. I lost her. Holy smokes. All right. Well, that is all right.
Too much pressure.
Too much pressure. Jeez, guys. I told you to be nice.
We'll just get that other guy,
Oh, her headset's messed up. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
We'll just have to get that Dragonborn Paladin guy.
There you go. We'll grab him back, right?
Yeah. We'll make him work.
User entered your channel.
Hey, welcome back. So, while we're waiting for Barry, go ahead, Melton. Just so you guys know, Melton has recently joined the group for you all. You haven't really done any missions with him, but he was brought in by the Lord's Alliance and was asked to continue with you guys as he's recently joined the Lord's Alliance and considered kind of like a new recruit, and they thought your group would be the best for him to travel with you. You there, Melton?
You, Brian?
Too much pressure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's too much pressure.
I thought you were talking to, so that was William's intro.
No, that's you. You're Melton.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot my name.
That's all good. No worries.
Yeah. He's done some things that, he is a strange looking gnome. He's from he tells you he's from Blingdenstone. And he's very curious. I mean, he's asked you a bunch of questions because he's kind of a new guy to the Lord's Alliance. So he's asking all kinds of questions about it. He seems fairly excited. He tells you, he knows how to, he knows how to get things. That's one of his things. He knows how to get things. That's what he does.
Nice. And then William.
William is a young man. And, you could think of him like, trying to get used to this whole situation, being in a group, in a unit. Kind of like a private. Can be overly nice. That's about it.
Alrighty, cool. And Stig.
Stig, he's an escort on caravans. This is his home here. So yeah, that's about it. I
Shouldn't
pretty
Stig,
much went over most of it earlier.
shouldn't Stig be speaking with a lisp?
No, no, he took classes on how to speak more like commoners,
Nice.
soft skins.
Very nice. And then Barry.
Can you guys hear me okay now?
We can. Yep.
Awesome. Sorry about that. My
That's okay.
headset's kind of flaky sometimes.
No problem.
Okay, Barry is a Lightfoot halfling. She is a divine soul sorcerer, and her background was she was kind of caught scamming a couple of people that she probably shouldn't have, and ended up having a very horrible, horrible death. And was basically raised by Tamora and sent on this mission to help out someone in the Lord's Alliance. So her mission is first to find who she's actually supposed to be helping, and she kind of thinks it might be one of you guys. But she is here to help, complete our mission, which, she kind of doesn't know what that is yet, but she's going to help you do it. So help her God.
Awesome. So you guys, it's the kind of the middle of summer in Faerun, and Waterdeep is deep within its normal city, busy hustle bustle. You all know that it's the metropolis, or the kind of the waypoint along the Sword Coast itself. You're all fairly familiar with the Sword Coast. You kind of know locations and towns and where they are in the general areas for the most part. Several of you have traveled the high road before, and kind of know that it's a well-traveled path with lots of caravans. Usually not a whole lot to really worry about. Sometimes, maybe if you're crossing near the Lizard Marsh, or, heading by the mare, then sometimes there may be some issues. But for the most part, it's pretty safe travel at this point. And you guys are able to travel down to where Nightstone would be, and continue to travel down the road. As you do, all of you have had some unique experiences that have occurred over the last few months, or even since your early childhood. The road is kind of boring and slow, and not a lot of things to really chat about over time, and stories sometimes can be shared between you. There's a map of the Sword Coast for you all, so you can kind of see where Waterdeep is in Nightstone. And I think it hopefully opened up kind of right where it's showing it. So as you guys are sharing stories, each of you will kind of have a little sidebar here. So for the rest of you, just kind of sit back and sort of take in the story if you want to. And these stories are shared by you as characters to the rest of your group as you guys are traveling, as you're sharing certain stories. So William Dorado.
Story.
Yeah. So William, you recall a time when you were outside your home, of your home city of Sundabar, and you were playing with your brothers out in the field. You're about 8 years old at this point. You guys are playing kind of catch, and have stick swords that you're swinging at each other, as your brothers are pretending to be paladins, givers of the life and protectors of the weak. And you guys are out there, and you suddenly feel this fear of death that kind of creeps over you as you see a large, dark shadow sort of come across the field. Your brothers immediately, looking to you, look up and start screaming and yelling and running towards the city walls. You feel like your feet are almost stuck in the ground. You feel like you're not able to move at all. You slowly kind of peer around and up, and you see what appears to be a great worm in the sky, has dark red scales and magnificent wings. The dragon circles down and lands within yards of your position onto a rock. It towers overhead of you, only about 5 to 10 feet away, and bends its gargantuan head downwards towards you. Its eyes are larger than you stand, and he pulls in a deep breath and forces out a large snort of hot summer air like air from his nostrils. I need you to roll an athletics check for me.
All right. In the tower.
No, you can roll it out in the open for me. Excellent. So as the brisk hot air swirls around you, you're able to hold your ground. You feel this burning sensation in your chest as the hot air burns through the tunic that you wear. You don't dare look down, and the red worm kind of reels back and grins. He says, "Brave little one, aren't you? Your bloodline serves you well. You stand despite the obvious fears in your blood. Tell your friends that you stood nose to nose with old Snarl. They shouldn't be afraid of you. Not many survive seeing Kaluth, let alone standing in front of you. Now run away. Run to the city before I destroy the puny men that come from Mirabar to fight against me." His mammoth wings beat as he glides up into the air, heading towards the town of Mirabar. As you look down at your chest, you see that your chest has been burned and is blistered. However, there appears to be a burn that's the shape of a 5-headed dragon that now tattoos your chest. You have since done some research looking into the old Snarl and the name of Cloth. This is a ancient red dragon that lives in the northern reaches of Faerun. You also found out that he typically is considered to be more of an evil type dragon that burns men. He did attack Mirabar, however, the men were able to force him back, and he has not had any attacks since. Stig.
Yep.
Stig, you are on a caravan fairly recently with Canalt, who is a cleric, the guy that gave you guys all your missions from Neverwinter to Waterdeep. Your group had just passed the Mare of the Dead Man, and you were heading south along the coastline. The weather's been beautiful and hot, and particularly warm this summer. The caravan stops along the road, and you commonly go to, where you commonly go down to the waterside to enjoy your feet in the water of the trackless sea. It reminds you of your family and home. You see a longboat out at sea. It's about 500 yards from land, and there's a father and daughter in the boat. He seems to be teaching her how to fish. The father grins as he casts his line out to sea. Suddenly, the sea parts on either side, and the small boat on either side of the small boat, causing it to crash to the bottom of the sea. You see the father falls awkwardly out of the boat onto the shore, the bottom of the ocean, as well as the daughter. On either side of the boat, you see 2 gigantic women on either side. These women appear to be gigantic in shape and size, and you've never seen giants before. To the south is an older appearing giant wearing long black hair and grayish blue skin. She wears what appears to be a large jeweled conch on the top of her head. Next to her is a young female giant with long blue bound hair and a long ponytail. She grins at the other 2 who are on the opposite side of the boat. On the northern side of the boat, you see an additional 2 giant females. They have lighter blue skin and white long hair. They appear to be young, but no older than the young giant on the southern side. You hear the youngest giant speak in a melodic tone. "Nim and Marion are it. I caught them, Mother, just like you said I would." The oldest giant turns to her. "I've told you girls many times when we're close to the shore we must be careful. There are small folk that are around that can be harmed." On the opposite side, in the northern part, the oldest daughter and the middle-aged daughter says, "Nim, stop standing so close to me. As the next in line for queen, I deserve the respect." The middle daughter stares at her oldest daughter, Merim, and rolls her eyes. She says nothing in return. Suddenly you hear the mother cry out as she reaches down and picks up the boat as well as the human father and daughter. The boat is splintered and broken, and the father appears to be unconscious. The little girl is crying, holding on to her father. The giant mother brings the boat and the human up towards the shore as she sees you at the edge of the beach with your feet in the water, staring off almost dumbfoundedly. She sighs and bends down, her gargantuan form bringing the father as well as the child to you, and she says in giant, "Priest of Helm, please help my little folk. I meant them no harm, and my girls were only playing. I'd never want to harm them. Please, check the human father and tell me if the sun is set for him. I need a medicine check, if you don't mind. Nice. You do your assessment and you see that he breathes and appears to be unconscious but alive. You inform the Queen, and the Queen smiles at you and thanks you for your services. The Queen then turns to his youngest, whispering, Sarissa, you girls must be more careful. I know that Miriam and Neum have no love for the small folk, but your father, King Hecatan, and I feel that compassion is important for leadership. The ordning has been sundered, we know that, but we must maintain our place in the world just as giants. Sarissa appears to be upset and apologizes to her mother. Mother Neri, I am very sorry. I feel much like I've let you down. You then hear the other sisters teasing Sarissa. The Queen turns to you and says, Please, my friend, take care of the human girl and her father. She reaches in her hair and pulled out a pearl, the most beautiful pearl that you've ever seen. She hands it to you and states, Give this to the human girl's guardian as retribution for the boat, and to her father, and apologize for my girls. She smiles as she walks back into the seas with their daughters, and her daughters continue to play farther out into the water. Barry. Barry, you speak about a dream that you had fairly recently. You had get common dreams from Tamora, and this one you felt was another dream for her. However, it turned drastically wrong. You've been here before, and you have seen this in your dreams that Tamora has shown you. However, this time she doesn't appear to be standing next to you. You see towering overhead a cold and desolate skies. The bitter wind howls in between a city of statues. You see various statues throughout the area. Despite the snow surrounding the city, there is no stone within the city limits. No snow, sorry. You sense that you're not alone. You see movement in the statues as you stand still in the middle of the city. The statues seem to animate and move, and you immediately recognize them as gargoyles. Hundreds of them surround you, moving, but they appear not to notice you or uncaring that you're present in their realm. You feel the ground tremble in the distance as you see a lumbering, gigantic blue worm with a yellow single horn above its nose between the statues and the gargoyles. The dragon walks in your directions and stops at a large frozen fountain less than 100 yards away from you. The dragon opens up its maw large, and lightning strikes the frozen pool, causing the ice to crack and sizzle. It takes what it appears to be a large clam and tosses it into the water. The ice melts and the water forms a whirlpool or a maelstrom of sorts, with lightning and thunder around the edges of the pool. The dragon speaks in common. Slackarel, thank you for the time you have given me. The time is short. The ordning has been sundered. This is our time to pay back the giants. You see in the center of the whirlpool an image of a gargantuan sea creature with long tentacles as a beard and a full mouth full of rows and rows of teeth that appear on about the size of castle towers, grinning back to the dragon. Dragons and giants haven't fought in the war for over 40,000 years. I know, I was there. What do you think I can do to help you defeat the giants? The dragon grins and says, Send your contacts and deal with Queen Neri. When she visits the insignificant humans along the shore, I will do the rest. Sekarel's image pauses for a moment, and then he grins widely. Imarith, you're just a baby when compared to me. However, you are wiser than your age allows. I will help you with this endeavor. But when you destroy the giants, I want to rule the trackless sea. You can rule all of Faerun. Imarith grins and suddenly stops and stares directly towards you. The whirlpool ceases to spin, and the black worm stomps towards you 1 foot after another. Appears like she's coming directly for you. Barry, I would like you to roll a... let's see. Sorry, I'd like you to roll a deception check for me, please. Thank you. Imarith stops just short of your position and looks left to right. She grins as she looks to the left. I see you again. Why do you hide in the shadows of the plains? I'll find you, I promise. Stop being a coward. Come out of the shadows. Arthur, is that you? Fly over here and confront me. The North cannot have two great worms if you're going to spy on me. Like a puny gnome. She continues to snort and moves back towards the city of statues. Immediately, the city of statues becomes smaller and smaller as you appear to be moving backwards at great speed, flying higher and higher into the sky. You feel like you're on a cloud. You see a weird shape similar to wizard hats above you. Something is vastly odd. You hear a voice, an older man, say, "Evil is afoot, my little folk. I was told you are one, but you need friends. As you cannot do this on your own, let's return you to the rightful plane you belong in." You spoke that you awoke in your room drenched in sweat and chilled to the bone. Melton.
Yes.
Yes. You speak of a story that you were traversing along a large cavern in the Underdark when you stumble upon an interesting traveling group. You see a huge giant in what appears to be plate armor and has a dragon skull as a helm leading the group. His companions are as odd as he is in the Underdark. He's traveling with a female half-elf with red curly hair, bright green eyes, and wears a very flamboyant dress. She walks with a limp and carries a staff. To the right is a male human, young in appearance. He carries a sigil on his breastplate that you have now learned is from the town of Suzail. You notice a large sword in his left hand, and he has a peculiar white ring on his sword hand. The group is moving through the cavern but does not appear to notice you. You stand in the shadows behind a zirkwood stalk from a zirkwood mushroom. You hear the giant talking to the half-elf. "I thought this was the way back to the Undermountain. We have to get back soon and report our findings." The half-elf looks around. "It's somewhere around here. Ah, there it is." She points over to a stalagmite near the edge of the cavern. They walk over to the cavern and you see the giant reach to the stalagmite. Runes glow across the edges, and strange runes that you've never seen before. They glitter for a period of time and then extinguish. The giant looks to the human. Arcus Cinder. Do you remember how to open this door without the key? Damn! I wish Gornick wouldn't have left the key behind when he turned against us. I told Kale that he couldn't trust bringing an outsider to help us out down here. Arcus looks up to the giant and pats the giant's arm and continues to fumble with the stalagmite. Arcus states, "We could always go through Manitol. It's quite a hike, though, probably a week or two." Suddenly, the giant stands tall and surveys the cavern. He whispers, "Underdark creatures are near. I smell them." I need a stealth check, if you want to remain hidden. Ooh, all right.
Maybe not.
Thank you. Arcus looks to the giant and grins. Harshag, you worry too much." Suddenly, the frost giant quickly lumbers over to the Zirkwood forest where you're hiding. He reaches and pulls one of the Zirkwood mushrooms that we are using for cover. "Aha! Just as I said, Arcus, an Underdark creature. Wee little guy." He bends down on one knee and extends his thumb sideways. "Arstag, nice to meet you. What's your name, little one?" He gestures with his thumb as in a handshake-type gesture. He smiles. He seems inviting. You hear Arcus walk up behind him, and Arcus says, "Harshnag, this is the Underdark. Not everything is friendly. Besides, who's to say he's not like Gornick, and looking for the same thing?" Harshnag turns his head backwards and chuckles loudly as it echoes through the cavern. "I know when there's good in creatures, and this one has good in him. Besides, I'm sure he would have stabbed me and taken the ring when we walked by a few minutes ago, if he wanted to. He looks like an excellent assassin." Arcus shakes his head and walks back to the half-elf who is working on the portal. Harshnag looks back to you. "Hey, can you help us with this door? I've unlocked the ruins, but I've seemed to have lost the key. Any tricks you have to help open this infernal door?" Just then you hear a click from the stalagmite and the door opens, leading to the lit dungeon hallway. "Ah, finally, someone who can help us get that door open. Let's get back to Waterdeep. Hey, why don't you come with me, little one? We could use somebody like you. You're pretty good at hiding." And he nods to you, and you guys step through the door. As you do, you see the rooms pulsate softly, and you enter into the Undermountain. Shortly after the last story is told, you guys have finally wandered up the road, and you guys see a sign. On that sign, you see a sign pointing north to Waterdeep and a sign pointing south to Daggerford. And there's another sign that points off to the northeast to Nightstone. After following the trail for about 10 miles, you start to hear what sounds like a ringing bell in the background. The sound grows louder and louder as Nightstone comes into view. A river flows around the settlement, kind of forming a moat, and the village itself is contained within a wooden palisade. beyond which you can see a windmill, a tall steeple, and high-pitched roofs of several other buildings.
Which direction is the sound of the bell coming from?
So the bell itself is coming from the church steeple.
I see it in the picture.
Yeah. You notice as you continue to approach that apart from the ringing of the bell, you detect no other activity within the village or outside the village. You do see that the trail leads up to a drawbridge which has been lowered, and it spans the moat. Beyond the drawbridge, you can see two stone watchtowers that flank an open gap in the palisade. South of the village, which is you can see the castle up on the hill there, is surrounded by a river moat and a cone-shaped flat-topped hill which stands on the stone keep enclosed by a wooden wall. The keep, which overlooks the village, has partially collapsed. The wooden bridge that once connected the keep to the village also has partially collapsed.
From what we were told of this place, is it supposed to be like this?
No, you were told that this is a thriving city or outpost. Many people live here and has the Nightstone in the center of the city.
So does it look like there's signs of battle?
So the broken bridge does look unusual, and now that you look, if you even take a peek there, you can see the church has a big hole in the roof. So you do see that, and the castle also appears to have pretty significant damage to the side of the walls. So it does look like there's, now that you have a better look to see, there's damage, but the damage seems to be all within the city itself. You don't see any signs of battle on the outside at all.
Is the damage weathered or does it look new?
No, the damage looks brand new. Matter of fact, you would probably estimate anywhere between 2 to 3 days old.
Well, this doesn't look good.
Are we able to just walk into the village? It looks like it's on a little island.
It is. So on the western side, there's a drawbridge that's down that crosses the moat, and you're able to get in.
Alright, we gotta investigate.
Yeah. Well, you lead the way.
Alright, I will. And I do just that.
All right, so you guys continue along the path as you come up alongside the drawbridge. You see that the drawbridge is about 20 feet long and 10 feet wide. It's made of what appears to be sturdy oak planks, and there's chains that connect the drawbridge, and the mechanisms are over in the watchtower. You see that the watchtowers appear to be unmanned as you walked up, and all you continue to hear is the sound of a ringing bell that just continues to ring over and over, almost as if calling in the flock for prayer.
Now that bell, mechanical or rope?
So it's not, it sounds like it's probably rope because it's not a constant metronomic type of sound. I mean, there's definitely variations in it being pulled and it's ringing that occurs.
Well, we should probably go to the church since there's signs of life there.
Well, that sounds good. I mean,
Yeah.
It looks like this place is deserted almost. That's ridiculous.
I wonder if they left anything behind.
This is
Oh.
weird. Konath didn't tell us about this. Can we lower the drawbridge?
The drawbridge is already lowered, actually.
Those are towers flanking it.
They are towers, yep.
A giant rock in the ground.
That is a giant rock in the ground. Matter of fact, now that you look through there, you see that there's multiple giant rocks, anywhere between 5 to 6 feet in diameter, that have shattered or have showered all throughout the area there. And you also see in the center of the square is a large hole in the ground, which appears to be maybe where some large object had sat and now is missing. You also see what appears to be um, two dogs or two dog-like creatures sort of eating another animal that's on the grounds.
Dog-like creature.
Are there any signs of battle?
So there isn't really signs of battle necessarily, except for these rocks. I mean, they could have been catapulted in. However, you didn't see any catapults on the outside. They definitely are that size. However, as you can see, there's multiple holes and things that are in the ground, but you don't see necessarily blood splayed anywhere. There are a couple, looks like dead creatures over in the northeast of this square over by that wagon. But otherwise, don't really see anything else. The square is pretty muddy, though. So,
Which one of these buildings is the church? The top right?
What time of day is it right now?
yeah, so we're kind of at the late afternoon, kind of creeping into evening type of time. The church is immediately to the left of the entrance, so just north.
Alright. This rock have any markings on it?
It doesn't, actually. It does look like it's about 2/3 of the way into the ground, however, so it hit the ground with tremendous force.
Hmm.
Well, what could throw rocks like that? Catapults?
I've seen dragons once, maybe, or giants once, maybe giants.
Alright.
Man, I don't think giants can throw rocks that big. You have to be a giant.
Alright, let's see what's in the church right here.
Okay. So as you enter into the church, you see that there's various markings of what appears to be godlike symbols, and there's also things that are painted on the walls. You all immediately recognize that it's the god of Lathander, as well as the god of Malekii. I can never say it. That's the gods of dawn and forest. You do see that there's a large bronze bell that's swinging back and forth, and the building contains many glass windows that kind of depict images of birth, of dawning sun and trees. There's unicorns and whatnot. The front door is wide open when you arrive, and as you walk in, you see there's sunlight that pours into the high vaulted chamber through 4 stained glass windows set in the north and south walls.
Where is the rope that leads to that bell?
Yeah, so the bell you assume is kind of off to the west, and as you enter in, you see that the room is empty. All you see are kind of benches that are here, and then you see on the back wall to the north there's a wooden pulpit with steps leading up to it, and the floor in here is dirt itself.
Alright, I'm gonna creep up there.
Alright, Melton's taking out his bow, I see. Alright, how about the rest of you guys?
How high is this church?
This church is about 20 feet high at the kind of the peak of it, 10 feet along the sides. The actual tower itself is about 30 feet.
Oh, Greg, I think you dragged in Tobar instead of Stig.
Oh, did I? Oh, you're right, I did. I'm sorry.
He'll die quick.
He's gone. There you go.
Do I see any easy way to kind of... You said there was a hole in the roof there?
This one doesn't have a hole in the roof. I'm sorry, if I said it, I didn't mean to. Oh, you actually did in the picture, you're right. Yeah, it does have a hole in the roof on the north west side.
Any easy way that I could see to climb up to the roof?
I don't know if... No, not really climb. You have a grappling hook?
I actually do.
You maybe be able to throw a grappling hook with a rope and kind of catch it up there.
I say, hang on, I got an idea. I'll go up here and look through the hole.
Alright, looks to me.
And I'll attach my little rope to the grappling hook, and I'll toss itself up there.
All right, sounds good. Go ahead and give me I guess it'd be athletics. I know. I tried to think of another way, but that's what you're stuck with, I think.
Oh, make me do a ranged attack.
You'll get this. I know you will.